more excitement than just utter surprise. And you better believe that the sun is definitely shining out here in L.A. today. A lot of Lakers fans are really happy.
LeBron is in that ilk. I mean, he's as good as it gets. LeBron is as good of a player as the NBA has ever seen. And him going to the Lakers, they're not a championship caliber team right now today, but they're a playoff team, and they're a team that can win a series or two. I just don't think that they are quite as good as Houston or Golden State right now, you know. But this is huge for Magic, huge for the Lakers, and and big for the NBA.
Well, Kevin McHale and Derek Fisher reacting to the news of LeBron going to the Lakers. Also got the big stunner of the Warriors getting DeMarcus Cousins, but still plenty of great talent out in the market. Many of the restricted free agent variety, including Clint Capela, who reportedly met with the Rockets on Sunday. His agent aggressively, according to reports, trying to seek other offers. He's a guy that gave the Rockets, Capela did about 14, 11, and 2 blocks a game. And now with DeMarcus Cousins going to the Warriors, isn't there even more of a sense of urgency to bring back Capela?
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes you forget that this team was a game away from making it to the NBA Finals. They had 2 opportunities to close out the Warriors, and you could argue, but for that injury to Chris Paul, they may very well have done it. And the reason why they may have done it is Clint Capela is a huge part of that. And we were talking earlier, Billy, I mean, once they went all in on Chris Paul, that in essence means they got to go all in on Clint Capela, because without him on that roster, there's not a guarantee that they're the second best team or one of the top 2 teams in the Western Conference.
Well, and you look at the fact they lost Trevor Ariza, who was a big part of their defense, and Capela's a big part of defense. So if you don't re-sign him, that's 2 of your defensive players, and you got to go play Golden State now, who's just added Boogie Cousins, and they got the offense. Even though you came close, those 2 guys are a big part of it. So. And also the fact next year there are going to be a lot of teams with cap space. So if he takes just the qualifying arm, which is his decision, next year he's unrestricted, and you may lose him because everybody's going to be going after him.
Billy, let's look at some of these other guys. I want to kind of lump them together with Zach Lavine and Jabari Parker, some of these guys. From a team standpoint, is there a concern that you could kind of tick off the player, that you're making him go search out for that other offer that you indeed are intending to match, rather than just giving him what you'd pay him?
Well, some of them you are. Like Jabari, I think Milwaukee it's like a little love-hate relationship there. They're not sure what they want to do. But Capela is somebody definitely you worry about. But Jabari, I think they're trying to get the number to their liking if they're going to bring him back. Zach Lavine, I think there's a relation there. They're negotiating where they both feel comfortable. I think that one is not as much where they can tick him off. I think he wants to be there. They want him there. They're just trying to get to the right number, because there are some teams out there that can put an offer sheet. Atlanta could put one on Zach Lavine. So they don't want to get to the point, because a lot of agents, what they'll do, they'll go to Atlanta and say, put an offer sheet. We know Chicago will match it. Just put it in. You don't have to force it. So teams have done that and forced those other teams to have to match.
And I don't think that from a team standpoint, you almost want to allow the market to be set. And from a player's perspective, if you're not a max guy, you got to almost be willing to bet on yourself. And by that I mean some of those guys like Clint Capela, he may not want to sign the extension. He may want to let his deal play out, because he's going to have tremendous value next season. And for him to do what he needs to do is a lot easier than a guy that's got to go get 28 a night. Yeah. His skill set, he's going to be comfortable doing what's necessary for him to be successful in that situation. So it's going to be interesting to see how this stuff plays out, because now that all the big fish are gone, to your point with a team like Atlanta, you may start to see some of these deals offered to some of these restricted free agents.
No Brinks truck being backed up to Isaiah Thomas, but is there a market for IT right now?
I think there's a market, but maybe not the number he wanted. He may end up getting a deal like Cousins got, where it's a 1 year, 5.3. But if he's going to do that, he's got to go to the right situation where he's allowed to flourish and play and get his numbers and prove it right. He's the old IT that was in Boston.
And it probably won't be in L.A.
Well, maybe the Clippers.
It could be with the Clippers, but I don't think there's any doubt. And you know what? If I'm IT, he might want a 1 year deal too, for an opportunity to prove his value. And again, there's going to be a lot of money in free agency next year, because there's going to be some big names out there, and not everybody can sign them. And if he goes to the right situation, he could very well find himself with a chance to cash in.
All these guys taking 1 year deals makes me wonder if we're going to be looking next season to see if guys are playing for a contract or playing to win, which sometimes can be different.
And next year we'll be on from July 1st until like July 9th with all these guys, all this money.
Yeah, right.
We're going to be on every day, all day.
Well, that's fine. You love that, right?
Yeah.
All right, this shock still has not officially subsided yet. DeMarcus Cousins going to Golden State. More reaction from the league and the world. phone off? That's my question.
They tell you to on the plane.
Yeah, okay, well.
Airplane mode, baby. Airplane mode.
Yeah, J.J. Watt, he's got the ultimate respect for the NBA. He certainly sees it wild.
JJ could have played in the NBA.
Reggie weighing in, center of the universe. Well, yeah, free agency would slow down and have time to go see Uncle Drew. Lil B, hopefully, it looks like DeMarcus not. He's not going to be cursed, right? He's not going to put the curse on him here. Joel Embiid, you knew he was going to weigh in. We showed you some tweets earlier. Sometimes changed his mind. Like who else? Like DeAndre Jordan from a few years ago. Let's make sure DeAndre signs in Dallas, huh?
Oh, what if Dallas reversed psychology? What if that would be
Yusuf Nurkic.
Oh, man.
Man, people outside of the Bay Area not too happy. What do you guys think?
It's the rules. They play within the rules, and they
First
got
of all, nobody else signed him.
Right.
It wasn't like they were beating us down his door with a break struck, right? To the victor
More
goes
free
the
agent
spoil.
coverage at NBA.com for Billy and GA and our crew. I'm Jared. Well, is Joel Embiid just appreciating the greatness of the Warriors? They're able to add a talent like DeMarcus Cousins. Well, when the news broke Monday night on Free Agent Fever here on NBA TV, our resident GM, David Griffin, put into context some polarizing comments made a couple of years back by a Warriors owner to the New York Times Magazine.
They're going to be maybe the best team in the league without him.
Yep.
And the reality is they can wait until he's 100% and then unleash that on the rest of the league. They will have had no time to watch. Think about this. If he comes out and plays this first game, let's say March 1st, that makes Boogie Cousins for $5 million and all the tax money they're going to pay on that $5 million. Basically like their buyout acquisition. And you're going to watch that team play for a month and a half. You're not going to have any time to prepare for what it looks like, and then you have to adjust to it. I remember Joe Lacob made a comment once, and everybody bristled. Called them light years ahead of the rest of the league. At this point, I think that might have been an understatement of what it was that they were cooking up at the time. It was foreshadowing, and we didn't know it. And now in hindsight, I understand it. They had designs on things nobody had ever thought about doing in the NBA. And what they've done now is they said, what's our Achilles heel? What's the one way people think they can beat us? And this is it.
Willing to do things others won't. Anthony Slater covers the Golden State Warriors for The Athletic. This had to be a shocker for you. Anthony, let's start with the fact that, the Warriors have grown some enemies, some venom over the last couple of years as their greatness has gotten better, adding Kevin Durant. What do you think the hate level or the venom level will be now around the NBA?
It's high. Just look at Twitter tonight, right? I mean, and it is a bargain for them. It gives them 5 All-Stars, which is pretty ridiculous. 5 guys in their prime, which I believe I saw a stat. This is the first time team will have 5 All-Stars from the previous season since 1975-76 Celtics. So the gathering of talent is unbelievable, but the hate for the Warriors is it rises a little bit, but I'm not sure it could have risen from the top level. It was already kind of ahead.
The planning and the vision that this front office has, not ever being satisfied with what they have in their current stable, but it also took some help from Kevin Durant. Can you break down for us exactly what happened with Durant's contract that helped make this Boogie contract possible?
Yeah, so the Warriors are so far in the tax that they didn't know if they were going to use their taxpayer mid-level exception this offseason, which is $5.3 million, because it was going to cost them about $22 million just to use it. And they needed to find a player that was worth it. But the fact that Kevin Durant, instead of taking a 2+1 or his full max, would have started his salary at $35-ish million per year next year, actually he could only start it at 30 now. That $5 million savings is really about 21 or so in tax savings, and they can basically shuttle that over to Cousins and not feel that financial hit as much. So again, like he did last year, when he gave a bunch of money back to let them, get Iguodala and Livingston, he kind of did it again. This time, I don't think it was as purposeful, but it saves the Warriors money, and it's another thing that the rest of the league is kind of not going to be too happy about.
Well, winning seems to be the cure-all, right? Guys come here and they conform to what the system is, but you're around this team on a daily basis. How does Cousins, with the reputation he has around the league, and how will others, with him putting up big numbers on the court and guys kind of balancing all out with who scores, who assists, who rebounds, how do you think this all gels together?
It's going to be very interesting. And, the thing that people, just because the name of DeMarcus Cousins has kind of throttled people, they a lot of people don't remember he's coming off an Achilles tear. He's probably not going to be ready till December and January. He's a 270-pound dude that has guard-type moves, switching moves on the perimeter that could be hard to play on a recovering Achilles tendon. So I don't know how good he's going to look, especially early on, knocking off some of that rust. He's never played with this much talent. There's nobody really who's ever played with this much talent. So he's a 25-point-per-game scorer in his career. What if he's only getting, 13 and, he's kind of more in the second unit and then he's never played high-level playoff basketball? What about him in a Rockets series where, maybe Houston's trying to isolate him and maybe the Warriors, instead of having him on the court, want Andre Iguodala for defensive purposes? How does he handle that type of stuff? It's all going to be very interesting. But at the same time, they have not had an offensive talent in the center spot at all. They had 4 combined threes from their 6 centers last year. And DeMarcus Cousins had 124 himself last year in 48 games. So it's potentially unbelievable, the pick and roll options, all the different stuff they could do. But it's going to take time to gel, especially with him coming off the injury.
Yeah, are they done now in the Bay Area?
Or who done? Well, they still got 3 roster spots they're going to want to give. They really need wings. They only really got 3 wings because they're guard heavy and they still got the big man spot. And they don't have any money. They're basically just going to need to go bargain shopping for some veteran minimum wings.
All right, Anthony Slater from The Athletic breaking down how the Warriors were able to get DeMarcus Cousins to the Bay. Thanks so much, Anthony. Read his work on The Athletic. Much more to come on this edition of Free Agent Fever. What's the latest on the Kawhi Leonard rumors? Can the Lakers get him? What about a team in the Eastern Conference? Plus, Summer League is underway. We'll get you a matchup between the 4th pick and the 5th pick of the 2018 draft. Jaren Jackson goes up against Trae Young from Utah.
CK.
All right, let's get you more Summer League highlights. We got 4 versus 5 of the 2018 NBA draft. Jaren Jackson Jr., Trae Young. It is the Hawks with Trae Young, and Jaren Jackson is on Memphis. And Trae Young airballed his first 3-point shot. Not a good start.
I thought Trae Young played for Memphis because the guy from Memphis was the one dropping them 3.
Oh, my goodness. And Trae Young, rough start, 0 for 9 in the first half from the field.
Well, I think it's a big adjustment for him because there's bigger length. Guys are jumping out. Guys are going at him because they saw what he did. They saw he was able to score.
And the one thing I will say about him is I look more at the shot selections. If he's getting the shots he wants, I think he's going to be fine. But that's the dude that was the shooter.
How about the big fella going outside?
He can shoot it, man.
Jaren Jackson. The Hawks passed up on this guy, right?
I love his size. I love the fact he can shoot, and he's gotten confidence in his abilities.
Well, Jackson was just tremendous. Memphis up at the half.
See, like that shot there, he's getting his shots,
yeah,
and he can shoot.
Well, Trae Young was
just
fine. 1 of 11 from downtown. He would take it inside, get the pretty reverse lay in there.
If you can score, you'll figure out a way to score.
Trae Young had 16 points, 4 of 20 from the floor, more from Jaren Jackson. He had 8 3-pointers. He was 8 of 13 from downtown, 29 points.
Think he was sending a message?
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe you should have taken me?
Yeah. That's ridiculous. Some of those threes.
Unbelievable. Take a look at what these 2 rookies did in their very first pro game. Wasn't a regular season NBA game, and Trae Young and Jaren Jackson had to deal with the air up there, the thin air in Utah. But, hey, Jaren Jackson certainly won this battle, but plenty more opportunity for Trae Young. I'll tell you in a moment where you can see him again in the near future right here on NBA TV. Golden State and Miami, the California Classic.
I like that idea.
In Sacramento.
Here's Bam Adebayo, another second-year player. Going right at Jordan Bell, another second-year player. Bam Adebayo there, the bucket and the foul. He had 14-14. Derrick Jones.
Oh! That's that former running rebel, baby.
Oh, okay.
Pogo stick.
Okay.
That dude is like one of the most freakish athletes I've ever seen.
He had 24 in the Summer League opener at the Cali Classic. Warriors, Jordan Bell, some defense.
Jordan Bell not with the offense.
Didn't he do that during his rookie year, and he actually put it down? But
yeah. He's done that a few times.
Yeah, in a game.
That's
risky move.
Hey, he played in the finals. We got a ring.
I don't know if Shaquille O'Neal was looking to see if he looking like Shaq in the pool plays. More Duke guys, that's right. Not this guy. He went to Miami. Lonnie Walker. Grayson Allen for the Jazz. Lonnie Walker for the Spurs. Allen getting it up to Tony Bradley, who had 11 and 11. Derek White. He hits the 3. He had a team high 22.
He was on something in this one.
You were into this one.
Yeah, man. It's exciting because with free agency and in the rookie class, Look, we're not the only ones into it.
Donovan Mitchell watching Grayson Allen. More from Allen. Jazz up big. Interesting pickup here by the Jazz.
Well, no, I like him. The fact I think he's going to a great situation where Quinn Snyder will let him fill out the offense.
Another Duke guy. He only mentioned.
Yeah,
guys.
Exactly. But the only guys he watches.
Donnie Walker 3-17 from the floor. Grayson Allen 4 of 16 from the field. 11 points. Flirted with a triple-double. 7 assists. 8 rebounds. We've got 3 more Summer League games for you on Tuesday. Hawks and Spurs starting at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And, of course, make sure you tune in to us right here on Free Agent Fever as soon as the Summer League action wraps up out west. Well, what is going on with Kawhi Leonard? We heard from Jabari Young, who covers the Spurs for the San Antonio Express News, for the most up-to-date rumors on where he is or is not going.
I think as long as Kawhi Leonard is in the San Antonio Spurs' property, he's under contract. As long as he hasn't been traded yet, there's always some hope that things can be repaired. Obviously, he's probably being kept, in the loop as far as what the Spurs are going to probably be trying to do in regards to trying to trade him, which he's requested. But at the same time, they're also sending signals like, listen, we still want to work this out. So if we get down to the wire and all of a sudden, Kawhi, you have a change of heart, let's sit down, let's talk, let's try to work it out. And I think also Kawhi has to also, in his head, he has to be prepared to possibly come back here for another season, because if the Spurs don't find a deal that's good enough for them, they don't pull that trigger, and I don't blame them for not pulling that trigger. It has to be a win-win for both parties. It just can't be a one-sided thing. Kawhi Leonard is under contract. Kawhi Leonard is a superstar player. The Spurs are not going to give him up for anything, and so he has to honor that deal. And I don't think he'll sit out. I know all that, the rumblings have been sitting out. I don't think that's going to happen. So, again, as long as he's in the Spurs program, as long as he hasn't been traded yet, there's always room for things to be worked out, even if it's slim. When training camp comes around, I believe Kawhi Leonard is going to be 100%. Again, I don't see him sitting out. I don't think he'll use that tactic to do that. It will diminish his value significantly, and he understands that. So I don't think that's the case at all, unless the injury is that bad again. And then if it's that bad, then also you diminish your value, and also people start to look at this and say, wait a minute, maybe the Spurs were smart to not give him that max contract. Maybe the people were smart to not give up all these assets. So again, I don't think Kawhi uses that. I think he will be 100% come training camp with any team that he's with.
All right, thanks to Jabari Young again from the San Antonio Express News. Billy King, Greg Anthony. We talked earlier in the show on whether you believe the Lakers should provide that Godfather-type offer to the Spurs in exchange for Kawhi Leonard. But what about teams in the Eastern Conference? Now that LeBron, who has dominated the East for 8 straight years going to the finals, GA, what about Boston? What about Philly? Teams who haven't made big moves. They've had to make some minor moves here in the first couple of days of free agency. Should they be pretty aggressive?
I would be. Listen, I think if you're Boston, it's not just about being the favorites to win the East. You want to have a chance to actually win it. Mm-hmm. And as much as you love their young talent, to assume that they're good enough to win it, I think would be a bit of fool's gold. I love Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but they're not at the level of Kawhi Leonard. And I just think if you could make a deal to get Kawhi Leonard, if you're the Celtics or the Sixers, you now get yourself to a point where you could potentially win it all. And that's why I think those two teams should be in that mix.
Well, I think the Celtics, I think Danny Ainge believes that they are going to compete with Golden State. So he's thinking getting Gordon Hayward back, getting Kyrie back, that they're going to be okay. I think the Sixers are a team that need that piece. They need Kawhi Leonard to go along with Simmons, to go along with Embiid. So for them, I think it makes much more sense because you add that piece, and Brett Brown coached him, so he knows him, right. And maybe he stays there, and now you've got those three to go long term. So I think it's more apparent for the Sixers, but I think they can't give away so much, and he leaves and hurts their franchise. So that's one thing I think. There was a report out there, I think, where they're asking 3 first-round picks from the Sixers. And right. To me, I don't think they do that. So I think both teams are going to be patient because both of them know that they're on the cusp. Sixers made the second round. Boston thinks we got that far without Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, so we're going to be good.
See, I disagree with you on this, though, Billy, because if I'm Boston or Philly, it's just like when you made your deal for LeBron. If I get Kawhi Leonard on that Sixers roster, those first-round picks aren't lottery picks. Yeah. They're late first-round picks. I can withstand that for 3 years. Right. My core, he would be my oldest, best player at 27.
Right.
My other 2 guys are early 20s. I could live with that deal. And if again, those 3 picks may not ever resort in a player of the caliber, and it won't allow you to compete for a championship today. And I have the same scenario with Boston. Boston has a really, really good team, but with Kawhi and Gordon Hayward, with Kyrie and Gordon Hayward coming back, they're still going to have to shuffle that lineup some. And now they're going to go in with a different mindset. They're going to have the expectation factor over their head. They're not going to be the really good story anymore. And when you have expectations, things change. You see teams differently now. I just think if either of those teams has a chance to pull the trigger, I think you almost have to. I think he could be a difference maker. Now, the question is, can you re-sign him? That's the bigger issue.
Didn't Paul George owe us something? Right?
Well, yeah, but Paul George is Paul
Lakers,
George.
right.
And also, Paul George never said he was going to L.A. That's what all the speculation was. And again, same thing with Kawhi Leonard. I haven't heard. He said he liked it, but I never heard him say, I'm going to L.A. I never heard that.
But he said his dream was to play in L.A., right?
But also, I think the difference is Oklahoma City was a team that, they had been winning for a long time. So the culture was already set of a team that been to the
But doesn't a
finals.
team like Boston have to believe in their culture to say that if we give up a lot to get Kawhi, we can use these 12 months as a recruiting pitch as opposed to maybe one phone call in free agency?
Yeah, but I think Boston feels they've got all these pieces there, so they don't have. The Sixers, on the other hand, to give up 3 picks, and also you're going to give up some players. Right. Sarge and like that. So to me, that's a lot, especially if you know he's not going to stay.
Well, that's the issue. If I got a guarantee that he's going to re-sign, if I'm Philly, I could absolutely make this deal.
Well, stay tuned. It's been a busy start to free agency. We
2
may
first
get
rounders.
ourselves
two.
And give him the Miami 2021. That Miami pick in there you go.
17. Well, LeBron James is off to L.A., but what's left behind in Cleveland? Kevin Love is still there. Should Kevin Love be dealt, or should the Cavs bring him back?
Did you say the logo's still there?